Hey guys, M here from Transformers and Video Games, and welcome back to the channel. After recently reviewing my Takara World's Smallest Transformers G1 Optimus Prime, I thought we'd take a look at another popular character from the same line. Today I'm going to be reviewing Takara's WST G1 Bumblebee, so let's get started. For anyone who's a fan of World's Smallest Transformers, be sure to check out my review of WST Optimus Prime and WST Megatron on my World's Smallest Transformers playlist. Now on with the review. World's Smallest Transforming Transformers was a line created by Takara in 2003. It consisted of G1 Transformers characters in their smallest transformable form possible. The figures were blind packed in identical boxes, so the buyer would have no idea which character they were purchasing until they actually opened up the package. Occasionally, anime shops would open them all up and indicate on the packaging which figure was inside in order to help collectors complete a full set of figures and cut down on the frustration of getting duplicates. Here's the front side of the box. The same boxes were used for the entire first wave of toys, and I'm guessing that they chose to include Optimus Prime's iconic G1 box art and a picture of the WST Optimus Prime toy on the front, given the popularity of the character. The sides of the box show some of the other figures that were produced in this wave, including Soundwave and two mystery chase figures, which were Thundercracker and Bluestreak. On the other side of the box, we see Optimus Prime and his trailer, which were both sold separately, Sideswipe and Starscream. Looking at the back side of the box, they show us the scale of the figures using WST Optimus Prime as an example in order to give people an idea as to how tiny these figures really are. I mentioned in my WST Optimus Prime review that according to my own measurements, the figures are even smaller than what the picture would seem to suggest, which is very cool if you like tiny Transformers. Alright, that's enough about the box. Let's open this up and see what the figure looks like. Bumblebee comes packaged with no accessories in this nice collector-friendly clamshell packaging. It includes a tiny instruction booklet, which I can assure you we aren't going to need for this particular transformation. On the underside, there's just a plain piece of folded cardboard to help the box maintain its shape. You can see that mine still has the $10 price tag on it from when I picked it up at TFCon a number of years ago. For anyone not familiar with TFCon, it's currently the largest fan-run Transformers convention since BotCon held its last show back in 2016. If you want to see what a typical TFCon is all about, check out the 3 convention videos on my TFCon playlist. Here we are with the figure out of package and in vehicle mode. As everyone knows, Bumblebee was a Volkswagen Beetle in the Generation 1 Transformers line, and over 35 years later, he was a Volkswagen Beetle again in the Bumblebee prequel movie. He has silver-painted rims and headlights and a black plastic bumper. The tires are plastic, and unlike the WST Optimus Prime from the same line, the wheels don't roll. The license plate section at the back is painted silver, the windows are painted black, and there's a tiny Autobot faction symbol on the roof of the car. As expected, the bottom of the vehicle is very clean. If you want to be able to distinguish an official figure from the knockoff versions, the legitimate version has a stamp that says T03C molded in plain view on the underside. Overall, I think the WST version of G1 Bumblebee is a success in vehicle mode. Now we'll get into the transformation, which of course is quite simple. The first step is to pull the arm section out from the side of the vehicle. Now they can be a little bit stiff on these WST figures. Then do the same thing on the other side. Now pull the front end of the vehicle down with enough force until you hear a satisfying click to tell you that the legs are locked in place. Rotate the front end of the vehicle forward 90 degrees to form his feet. Then rotate the license plate section on the back 90 degrees to reveal his head. And that's all there is to it. No need for instructions for this figure. Now that we have the transformation out of the way, let's take a look at the figure in robot mode. WST Bumblebee is a near-perfect, tiny representation of G1 Bumblebee. The Tampograph Autobot logo on his chest looks okay, but I honestly think that a tiny sticker would have looked better and been a little bit more G1 accurate. He has some nice molded panel lines on his thighs, which is a nice bonus given the scale of the figure. The back of the figure has no kibble on it, but then again, neither did the G1 version of the toy. Again, you can see the official stamp on the bottom of his feet in robot robot mode. Unlike the G1 version of Bumblebee, the WST version's feet are molded together, which is a little bit of a shame, but completely understandable considering the engineering challenges given the size of the figure. Now that we've discussed the robot mode, let's talk articulation. For the most part, any articulation for WST Bumblebee is due to transformation, with the exception of the 360-degree rotation of each arm. As expected, the left arm rotates at the shoulder, but when it comes to the right arm, it rotates at closer to the elbow due to the way that the figure was assembled. This honestly gives it a strange look, so I normally leave the right arm on mine at his side and only pose the left one. Other than that, the head moves up and down due to transformation, and the feet move up and down again due to transformation. And that's it for articulation. Now let's do a couple of size comparisons. The obvious first comparison to do is with my G1 Bumblebee in robot mode. Obviously my vintage Bumblebee is the rub sign version. If I wanted to make these two figures look more alike, Toy Hacks sells tiny rub sign repro labels which are actually heat sensitive when you rub them, just like the vintage originals. If you prefer the look of a standard Autobot logo on his chest, Toy Hacks sells those as well. Here they are in vehicle mode. It's interesting how the WST version has painted headlights and the vintage version doesn't. I should mention that the Walmart exclusive reissue of G1 Bumblebee has painted headlights, but I didn't bother picking up that version of the figure. And just because I have it handy from another video that I was working on, here's G1 Optimus Prime with WST Bumblebee in robot mode. WST Bumblebee stands right at about knee level on Prime. Here they are in vehicle mode. I'll likely pick up the Walmart G1 reissue of Optimus Prime if I can find it in the wild. And last but not least, here are all of the figures that we just looked at in robot mode and in vehicle mode. I couldn't find my other G1 Bumblebee, so that's my G2 Bumblebee on the right. I've always loved the G2 versions of the G1 Minibots because they were all done in a beautiful, shiny chrome finish. Standing next to Optimus Prime in the middle is my world's smallest Transformers, Fortress Maximus, which is a third-party figure that came out a number of years ago. Mine is the mini version that came out on a blue card back. There's an even smaller one that came out on a yellow card back, but this one is more detailed and more G1 accurate. If you can find it, I'd recommend the mini Fortress Maximus over the smallest version of it. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thank you very much for checking out my review of WST Bumblebee. In conclusion, would I recommend adding a WST Bumblebee to your collection? I absolutely would. These are very cool, fairly inexpensive, transformable versions of our favorite G1 toys, and they've been very well executed by Takara. There is a third-party WST version of Bumblebee available at HeroToys.com, but I'd personally recommend going with the Takara version unless you're already planning on ordering other figures from Hero Toys. The massive Optimus Prime that you see here holding WST Bumblebee is actually a third-party figure produced by a company called Lewin Resources. For anyone who's interested, I've done a thorough review of this figure in vehicle mode, as well as a separate review showing the transformation and the robot mode. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Take care.